Good morning students. In today's video we are going to see regarding the flanged section. In the previous videos we have seen regarding the rectangular sections. Already I had covered this regarding flanged section. Once again I will revise. So when we are going to go for a flanged section, when the slab concrete is employed to resist the compression of the beam, then that beam we can call it as a flange section. Or whenever you are going to monolithically cast, that is beam and a slab, so then you can say that we can consider it as a flanged beam. Otherwise, if it is non-monolithic, we can take that as a rectangular section and we can do the analysis and design that section. So in the flange section, we may have T shape or T beams and we may have L beams. So you can see the figure, it is similar to like T letter T. So therefore this is a T beam, and then next it is somewhat like L shape. So therefore it is a L beam we have. In general, till now we have analyzed this rectangular beam sections. So if you take one actual example of a building, if you see this is the building we have, this is the slab we have. So these beams you can see, cross sections of the beam you can see here, somewhere here. So now which one will be the L beam and which one will be the T beam? So if you see the cross section here, it is drawn somewhere here, it is drawn somewhere here. This is the slab we have, this portion is slab, and these are the beams, these are the beam bottom portion, this is the beam these are the beams what we have, so which is seen somewhere here, these are the beams. Then next is which one is T beam and which one is L beam now. So if you see the intermediate portions what we have, the intermediate beam what we have, so that will be the T beam. Or if you see this figure, this intermediate beam what we have, this will be the T beam and this will be the T beam section we have. Then next is L beam. So end beams what we have. So end beam, if you consider the slab and a beam, so this will be the L shape beam. Similarly this also, this will be the L beam. So at the end we have this L beam and this is the L beam. So intermediate what we have, these are the T beams. Then next let us see the notations which we are going to use. For example, if you consider this as a T beam, so the top portion we call it as a, this top portion we call it as a flange, and this bottom portion we call it as a web. So this we call it as a web. This is the flange and this is the web we have. Then next, usually what we do, for width we are going to write it as B, and for depth we are going to write it as D. As this is a flange section, so therefore we are going to write it as BF, width of the flange. Similarly, for depth we write it as D. As this is a flange section, we write it as DF. Similarly, this is web we have, so we are going to denote it as BW, that is width of the web. And capital D is nothing but the overall depth of the beam or total depth of the beam. So this is for the T section. Similarly, for L beam also we are going to have, that is BF is nothing but width of the flange, DF is nothing but depth of the flange, capital D is nothing but overall depth, and BW we have, that is width of the web. This is the width of the web. So these are the notations what we have. Then next, how to analyze, or we are going to find out the moment resisting capacity of this T-shaped or L-shaped section. So basic concept what we do is that, now this is the T-shaped beam we have. So what we do is, we are going to divide this into two parts. This has one rectangular portion. So this T beam will be equal to one rectangular portion, that is D into BW, plus this remaining portion what we have. This remaining portion what we have. So in this way we are going to divide and we are going to calculate the moment resisting capacity of the section of this T section, or we are going to design the T-shaped beams. Basic concept is, we are going to divide into one rectangular portion and this remaining portion what we have, this dark portion what you can see, this remaining portion we are going to design or we are going to analyze. In this way, this is the basic concept behind designing of this T beam. Now next is how to calculate this width of the flange, effective width. So for example, if you see this figure now, if you take this beam, so what will be this distance? So flange is nothing but it is going to cover distance from here till here and here till here. If you see this beam from here, this distance we have and this distance we have. What will be the effective width of this beam? How to calculate? So IS code provides certain formula. Based on that, we will try to calculate. In the absence, this is as per IS code IS 456-2000, clause number 23.1.2 in page number 36. They have given this. So the effective width of the flange may be taken as following, what they have given in the formula, but in no case it shall be greater than the breadth of the web plus half the sum of the clear distance to the adjacent beam. So what values we are going to get, it should not be greater than this. So for T beams, how do we calculate? BF, that is nothing, B is nothing but width of the F is nothing but for flange. Width of the flange, that is equal to L0 by 6 plus dW plus 6 times of dF. Here BW is nothing but width of the web, dF is nothing but the depth of the flange. Now what is this L0? L0 is nothing but, for example, if this is the beam here, if you are going to have bending moment somewhat like this distance is called as L0. Similarly for L beam, BF is equal to L0 by 12, this is 6, this is 12, and this is 3, this is 6, this is 3. So in this way, for T beams and L beams, we are going to calculate the effective width of the flange if it is a continuous beams. If we are going to have isolated or separate beams, then next for the T beams, we are going to take L0 by B plus 4 plus BW, 0.5 L0 divided by L0 plus divided by B plus 4 plus BW. This is for L beams. So BF is nothing but effective width of the flange. L0 is nothing but distance between the points of zero moments in the beam. BW is the breadth of the web. TF is nothing but the thickness of the flange, and B is nothing but the actual width of the flange. Next is we will try to calculate the depth of the neutral axis. So whenever we are going to calculate the depth of the neutral axis, so two things we will come across. For example, I will draw one T beam here. So for example, if this is the T beam here now, so two things may happen. The neutral axis, either it is going to lie within the flange or it is going to lie within the web. So that is, for example, if this is our neutral axis, this is lying in the flange, that might be one case, or our neutral axis, it is going to lie somewhere here. So the neutral axis is within the web. Either we will have this case or we are going to have this case. So we will try to see regarding these two cases. So as a first approximation, what we do, let us assume that our neutral axis, it is going to lie within the what you can say, flange, or it is going to lie at the bottom of the flange. For example, so this is the T section we have. Our neutral axis is lying somewhere here, for example. We first will assume that this is lying somewhere here. If this is the case, what happens is that this will be like one rectangular section itself, what we have designed. So everything will remain same. So total compression already we have calculated for the rectangular section, that is 0.36 FCK into B into D. So where B and D were breadth and depth of the rectangular section. Now as it is a flange section, what happens is that B will be nothing but width of the flange, D will be nothing but depth of the flange. D will be nothing but depth of the flange. So when this is the case, when the depth of the neutral axis, it is lying within the flange, and the total tension will be equal to 0.87 F of Y into AST. So when it is lying within the flange, it will be similar to our rectangular section itself. That is total compression and total tensile forces. Already we have seen in the earlier videos. Then next what happens that this total compression FTC, if this FTC, if it is greater than this total tension FTS, if it is greater than FTC, if it is greater than FTS, then we can say that neutral axis, it is going to lie within the flange. If it is equal, then neutral axis, it is going to lie at the bottom of the flange. If this FTC, if it is less than FTS, then neutral axis is going to lie within the web. So based on this you can tell. Then next, if it is a rectangular section, for total compression 0.36 FCK into B into XU, that is BF into XU, and FTS, it is 0.87 F of I into AST. This is nothing but total compression and tension. So if you want to calculate this XU value, we are going to equate this. Total compression is equal to total tension. If you are going to equate this is equal to this, I want to calculate this value of XU. So therefore, this will be divided by 0.87 F of I AST divided by this term is going to come in the denominator. So this is the equation what we are going to get. So if you are going to equate this equation is equal to this equation, and if you want to calculate the value of XU, so this is the equation what we are going to get. Already we have seen this equation in the earlier videos also. Only thing is that instead of B, that is width of the rectangular section, as we are talking about flange section, this will be BF, that is width of the flange section. If XU is less than XU max, already we have seen section will be under reinforced section. If XU is equal to XU max, section will be balanced section. If XU is greater than XU max, then section is over reinforced section. Then if it is a over reinforced section, what we have to do is that we have to take value of XU that is equal to XU max. You cannot take the greater than this. So therefore, whenever it is exceeding, you remember whenever it is exceeding, that is whenever XU is greater than XU max, so we will take XU is equal to XU max and we are going to further analyze and design the beams. Then next is we will try to calculate the moment resisting capacity of the section. So as we have two cases now, case 1 is that neutral axis it is going to lie within the flange, that is XU less than DF. If XU is less than DF, that means our neutral axis is going to lie within the flange. If you refer this figure, you can see this is our neutral axis, and this is nothing but XU, that is depth of the neutral axis. If our depth of the neutral axis, if it is less than the depth of the flange, if our neutral axis it is going to lie within the flange, so how we are going to calculate the moment resisting capacity? Already I had said you, it will be same as we have done in the rectangular section. So this is the strain diagram and this is the stress diagram. So therefore, if you are going to equate total compression and total tension, we are going to get X is equal to 0.87 F of I AST divided by 0.36 FCK into B. So instead of B, we have to take it as BF, that is width of the flange. Already we have seen for the rectangular section, same thing we are going to have. Then next is for under reinforced section, if you are going to calculate the moment resisting capacity, already these formulas also we have seen, and in the code book also they have given, that is 0.87 F of I into AST into bracket of D minus of 0.4 to XU. Then next is, this is due to total tensile force, due to compressive forces it will be 0.36 FCK into BF into XU into D minus of 0.4 to XU. For example, if you are going to have a balanced or over reinforced section, instead of this what you can say XU, we are going to have XU max. Instead of this AST, we are going to have AST LI, limiting area of steel. So therefore, MU will be equal to 0.36 FCK into B into XU max into D minus of 0.4 to XU max. Instead of this XU, it will be XU max. Instead of this XU max you have to have. Then next is, if you consider this equation, it will be this moment will be equal to 0.87 F of I into AST. It was AST, now it will be limiting area of steel. So this XU, it will be XU max when it is a balanced or over reinforced sections. It is same already what we have covered, same thing we are going to have. If the depth of the neutral axis, if it is less than the depth of the flange, that is for a singly reinforced section. Now if it is a doubly reinforced section, again same thing what we have covered, everything will remain same. So moment MU will be nothing but the total moment which is going to come on the beam minus of limiting moment, that is moment carrying capacity for a rectangular section, that is singly reinforced section. So additional moment MU2 what we are going to have, that has to be registered, and for that we are going to provide the additional compressive steel ASC. Based on this you can calculate the value of ASC. The next AST1, that is nothing but AST LIM. Already we have seen this also. ASTLIM is nothing but based on this MULIM we have to calculate this ASTLIM, that is the area of steel required for a balanced section. AST2 is nothing but the additional tensile reinforcement what we are going to put due to this MU2. So that will be equal to AC into FSC divided by 0.87 F of I. Already this also we have seen. So doubly reinforced section what we have designed, same thing we are going to have. So therefore total area of steel will be equal to AST1 plus AST2. Then next is second case we are going to see, if the depth of the neutral axis, if it is going to exceed the depth of the flange. So in the previous case our neutral axis was here and this is the depth of the neutral axis. This is the depth of the neutral axis. This was the case number 1. Now for example, if our depth of the neutral axis, if it is going to exceed the depth of the flange. So how to calculate the moment resisting capacity of the section? So that is what we are going to see. That is XU. This is nothing but XU we have. XU if it is greater than this DEF, that is the depth of the flange. So now how to do? It will not be like a rectangular section. It is being divided into two parts. So this is one rectangular portion. So like rectangular portion what we have done, this will be the rectangular portion. Plus for this remaining portion, additional portion, you can see this additional stress block we are going to have. So these are the stress, means based on the actual stress block, we are going to calculate the moment resisting capacity of the sections. So these notations will remain same earlier what I had said. Only this will be additional block due to these portions. So now again basically if you see same concept we have. Moment of resistance, how to calculate? The total force into the distance, that is lever R. This and this we are going to take. Again in that we are going to have different cases now. When the section is under reinforced, the moment of resistance shall be found out using actual stress block. That is, we are going to divide into rectangle and the remaining portion what we have. So what happens is that if we are going to the stress block for a concrete shows a uniform stress up to a depth of 3/7 XU. Already this also we have seen. So up to 3/7 the stress will be uniform. If that is the case, how to calculate? If it is going to exceed that, we'll try to calculate that also. Then after this portion, what happens that it will be parabolic. So therefore, first case will take if depth of the flange, if it is less than this 3/7 of XU. If it is less than this, so then what happens to that? We are going to have uniform stress. If it is a uniform stress, then next is total compression now. Total compression already for this rectangular section already we have seen 0.36 FCK into BW into XU. Total compression will be equal to, this is for a rectangular section, plus this one will be the addition for that remaining portion what we have. That is 0.45. This is not, this approximately it is 0.45. Actually if you see, this is nothing but 0.446. 0.446 FCK. Here also 0.446 FCK. So that will be equal to area of this, that is 0.446 FCK into this is nothing but DEF multiplied by the width perpendicular to this what you can say screen what you are seeing, that is 0.446 FCK into DEF. Then next is this will be width. Width is nothing but what now? Width, what width we have to take? Already in the rectangular portion this we have covered. So this for rectangular portion we have taken this. So we are talking about this is nothing but total width BF minus this portion has to be done. Minus this portion. This portion is nothing but what? BW. So therefore it will be BF minus of BW. This is nothing but for total compression, total compressive force. Total tensile force, that is 0.87 F of I into AST. This is nothing but total tensile force, that is 0.87 F of I into AST. Then next is based on this itself, based on this what you can say equation you can calculate the moment resisting capacity, or based on this also you can calculate. This is nothing but force, we have to multiply by distance, that is nothing but the lever R. So this is nothing but force. So how to calculate the moment? Moment will be equal to this equation, that is 0.36 force into distance. This is nothing but the force now 0.36 FCK into BW into XU into distance now. What will be the distance now? This distance already we have seen. So this total is nothing but small d, that is effective depth, minus of this 0.42 XU. 0.42 XU. Already we have seen this is the lever arm what we have. This is nothing but due to the rectangular portion. Then next is this portion is due to the remaining flange section what we have. This is nothing but the force, that is 0.446 FCK into BF minus BW into DF. Then next is this is nothing but the lever arm. So how do you get the lever arm now? So lever arm is nothing but distance from this face till this face. So this is nothing but this is total DF, but we require distance from here to here. So this has to be subtracted. So this has to be subtracted, or where this force is going to act, always it is going to act at the centroid. So therefore this distance will be, this remaining distance will be df by 2. Why? Because it is a rectangular section. So this is df by 2. So therefore this is d minus of this df by 2. D is nothing but total distance from here till here, minus this distance, that is nothing but df by 2. So you are going to get this distance, that is d minus of df by 2. df by 2 is not, 1 by 2 is nothing but 0.5. So therefore this is d minus of 0.5 of df, or you can write that as df by 2 itself. So based on the tensile forces, if you want to write, that is 0.87 f of I into ast into lever arm, that is nothing but this distance itself, that is d minus of 0.42 xu. This is the case when df is less than 3 by 7 of xu. Why this is like our stress will remain, stress will be uniform. If it is going to exceed that, it will be parabolic. So then how to calculate now? This is the case you see. When df it is greater than 3 by 7 of xu, that time what happens is that stress will not be uniform. Then instead of this df, it has to be replaced by yf, but it should not be greater than df. Then next, how to calculate this yf? Instead of this df value, what we do? We have to substitute this yf. So yf will be equal to 0.15 xu plus 0.65 df. 0.65 df. In the previous equation, instead of df, we have to substitute yf. Other things will remain same. Therefore, total compression you can see here 0.36 FCK BW into XU, what we have seen in the last slide. 0.446 FCK BF into BW. Previously it was DF. Instead of that, it has to be substituted as YF. This will remain same. Therefore, moment will also same equation. Moment will also be same equation. Only thing is that instead of here DF, it will be YF. Similarly, due to tensile forces. And YF is equal to this. And this should not be greater than the depth of the flange. Then next is another case we have, that is when the df by d, when it is less than or equal to 0.2. How to calculate the moment resisting capacity? That is depth of the flange divided by the effective depth. If it is less than equal to 0.2, the moment resisting capacity, again it will remain same. Moment resisting capacity of the section, it will remain, what you can say, same what we have seen in the earlier, what you can say, this. This is the equation. If you further simplify this equation, we are going to get that equation. So how to simplify this equation? What happens that we will be knowing the xu by d value. So what we can do is that we can multiply and divide by d itself. For example, I will divide by d, I will multiply it by d, and I will take this d outside. So it will be 1 minus of 0.42 xu by d, right? So therefore it will be 0.36 FCK into BW into this is xu by d, and this will be d square. So same thing here we are going to have, that is 0.36 xu max by d into FCK into BW into d square into 1 minus of 0.42 xu plus 0.45 FCK BF minus BW into bracket of df into d minus of df by 2. Same equation. This is nothing but the same equation what we have seen. Further, if you simplify this, we are going to get this equation. Then next is if df by d, if it is greater than 2, what happens that instead of this equation df, we are going to use this yf. Only that is the change. If it is less than 0.2, this is the equation. If it is greater than 0.2, this is the equation. So all this equation already they have given in the code book. So let me show you once what they have given in the code book. So you can go to annexure C, that is moment of resistance for the rectangular and T section. So we have seen for a rectangular section, for a singly reinforced beam, these are the formulas. Already we have used these formulas. The next is for doubly reinforced beam. These are the formulas just now what I had shown or already what we have seen. The next after that they have given it for the flange section. So what all things I have explained now, everything is being given in the code book. So first what they have given, when XU is less than DF. When XU is less than DF means when the depth of the neutral axis, when it is going to lie within the flange, then moment resisting can be calculated using equation given in G1.1. G1.1 is nothing but this. This is nothing but for a rectangular section. Just now what I said. So if the depth of the neutral axis, if it is less than the depth of the flange, it will be like rectangular section itself. So what we are applying for rectangular section, based on that itself we can calculate the moment resisting capacity of the section. If it is next thing is that if it is greater or if it is going to, if the depth of the neutral axis, if it is going to lie within the web, again in that we have different cases. That is when df by d, if it is not going to exceed 0.2, this is the equation we have. Same equation you can see here, 0.36 XU max 1 minus 0.42 XU BD square into FCK. Same thing we have. Instead of B, we will be having BW. Only thing is that this is for a rectangular section. Then if this is for additional flange portion, what we are going to get. That is 0.45 FCK into BF minus BW into DF into bracket of D minus of DF by 2. When DF is not exceeding 0.2. If it is going to exceed 0.2, instead of this DF, we are going to use it as YF. So you can see here, when the D by DF it is going to exceed 0.2, then moment resisting will be equal to, we can see here, instead of DF, same equation, instead of DF, it will be YF. That is the case. So how to calculate that YF? YF will be equal to 0.15 XU plus 0.6 times of DF. 0.6 times of DF. So I had said you another two cases, that is if XU max, if it is greater than XU or when it is greater than DF, then how we have to calculate. That is when DF by XU, I said that it is 3 by 7. If it is not going to exceed 3 by 7, how it has to be calculated? As they have given in equation 2.2.1. So this is the case. When it is less than 0.43, this is the equation what we have. And when it is exceeding, that is when it is exceeding 3 by 7, 3 by 7 is nothing but 0.43 itself. When it is going to exceed 3.3, 3 by 7, we are going to use equation 2.2.1. This is the equation. This equation and this equation we are going to use.